Without a warning, you're out of control. The ground shakes and the oceans roll. This is the big one, there's nowhere to run. On the Richter scale of a romance, you hit 12 and you don't stand a chance. This is the big one, I'm falling in love. Now it's beat, 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 my heart's sending out a message. Please, please, please don't save me tonight. SOS in this situation means she's out of sight. No need to panic, I tell myself, but I never felt this feeling with anybody else. So this is the big one, I'm falling in love. Oh, yeah. A message. Please, please, please don't save me tonight. SOS in this situation means she's out of sight. No need to panic, I tell myself, but I never felt this feeling with anybody else. So this is the big one, I'm falling in love. I'm falling in love.
The opinions expressed on this show do not represent those of the station. If you've missed any of the shows, you can follow the podcast at energeticcity.ca. Welcome to This Week in the Peace, a show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace region. Here's your hosts, Dub Craig and Steve Berard.
Welcome to This Week in the Peace. Today we have one special guest here wearing two hats. Ovvian Castrillo-Hill is a local artist and community organizer, and she's busy helping to prepare the Success World Fair, happening Sunday afternoon at Festival Plaza. I'll be chatting with her about that a little later on.
Yes, but first, the annual EX SITU exhibition featuring works by Filipino-Canadian artists and photographers is set to open at Peace Gallery North on June 6th, just 2 weeks from now. So tell us all about this annual tradition and exhibition that is happening at Peace Gallery North. We're joined now by Ovvian Castrillo-Hill. Ovvian, welcome back to the show. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you, Dub. Thank you for having me again to speak about EX SITU. As you mentioned, we've been doing this for quite a while. This is actually our 7th year, believe it or not.
That's awesome.
I know, it doesn't feel like it. It's like it just happens every year, and then suddenly, oh my God, we're on our 7th year. So we're looking forward to this exhibit as well. There's a few new things. By that I mean there's actually new participants, and I think probably new media as well. So we're very excited. As you know from the past years, that this is really more of a community exhibit. It's two-pronged. In one way, we want to showcase Filipino-Canadian work coming from, our kind of unique and particular eyes, I suppose you can say. But also, more than that, it's really for community building. It's for people to be able to interact with us and us to interact with the general community, for us to, more than that, to be able to share what is Filipino-Canadian in us. I mean, I think that is the crux of it. Like for us Filipinos who live now in Fort St. John, who are Filipino Canadians, we are neither just here nor there. We are a combination of two cultures. So this is, I guess, the artistic representation, the visual representation of those experiences that are unique to us and unique to the place we live.
Yeah. Well, I obviously I don't expect you to speak for the whole community, but I suppose a lot of Filipino Canadians who are here who will be participating, either came here or are these, the the kids of people who came here, right? It's only kind of been a couple generations that have kind of been in Fort St. John.
Yes,
eh?
yeah. From previous research, the first Filipino who migrated to Fort St. John came in, I think, 1967.
Okay.
But like as I mentioned, there's actually a lot of second generation Filipinos who may have moved from out of town, from the Lower Mainland, who are now here and who are touching base and finding the Filipino community and connecting with us. So other than so that I guess could be the third prong, we're now also finding connections with for the first generation Filipino Canadians to the second generation and probably the third generation of Filipino Canadians. Also it's giving opportunity for us to interact each other, but for the ones who were born here to learn more about their culture as well. So, like I said, it's building community, not just for the Filipino Canadians, but for the general community. But overall, there's a lot of things to be learned, a lot of things to be celebrated. And this is one of those things. And by the way, this is also part of Filipino Heritage Month. It's one of the things that we do to celebrate us being here. This is one of our ways to contribute. So we're happy to do it every year.
Okay. And what kind of art, when we say art, I mean, you mentioned photography. Is it kind of any kind of art we're likely going to see at this? Sculpture?
Yes. Oftentimes we'll have, it depends on the number of artists that are going to be there. But so it changes every year. Not everybody joins every year. We have some people who have joined every year. But yeah, we do have photography. I'm going to have some relief artwork. I'm going to have some ink on paper. We have some kids who have marker on paper. There's also going to be some, I'm actually excited to see because we do have some new artists. So I'm not really familiar with some of the media that's going to be used, but that just adds to the excitement for me because that means every year there's something new to be seen, something like a new person to meet, a new artist to discover. So that adds, I think, to the beauty of EX SITU.
Yeah. And you mentioned you're going to have, you said relief. Explain what that is for people who don't know what
well, relief would mean like wall art primarily.
Okay.
So like it's something like a relief that's coming off from a wall kind of, or a flat surface. So
I see.
Yeah. So
it's not just painted on necessarily. There's
texture and dimension. Like I guess it's three-dimensional, but off a flat surface. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think? And I mean, I guess a better question is why is this such an important event, especially as you say, 7 years in? It's been a tough year for the Filipino Canadian community, given the tragedy from a month or so ago in Vancouver. Why is this so important to do, as you say, as an active community building, both within the Filipino Canadian community, but also with kind of the larger community of Fort St. John in experiencing and getting to know the community and seeing this art and what it means to everybody involved?
Well, I mean, art is like just visual language, right? So basically, it's something that is out there that can speak, and your art can give the message indirectly to the viewer. So this is just another way of us connecting with people visually. So it's very important for us to have this and to have this every year because then it just gives another layer, another opportunity for us to connect. And to add, I think art is something that is very important, not just for the Filipino community, but for the community in general. I mean, it's something that obviously that I champion as part of the Arts Council and is also parts of Arts Northeast. I think it's something that adds value. I mean, when you think of anything that's important in somebody's life that has nothing to do, say, with your physical attributes or your health, it probably has something to do with art, whether it's food, whether it's dance, whether it's the music you listen to, whether it's the graphic arts or the theater or the TV that you watch. There's something artistic in everything that we appreciate and enjoy. So I think it just, the more that we have activities like this, it adds to the value and it adds to our humanities. I mean, that's pretty much the definition. Art is part of humanities. It's exploring that other part of our being, I suppose, that makes it worthwhile, makes us celebrate that our lives here on Earth. So I think it's very important. So it's kind of like our little way to contribute as well. So other than the cultural aspect of being Filipino Canadian, and in a general picture, we'd like to enrich our lives here in Fort St. John. Like I often say this, Fort St. John is the only Canada I know. This is the very first place that I went to, and this is the place where I live. So for many of us, we're very heavily invested in in living here and making our lives better here, not just for ourselves, but for everybody else to say, oh, Fort St. John is a great place to live. And I think art is a very big part of that.
Mm-hmm. When you I think you said at the start, you kind of been in on this since the beginning, right? You were one of the original. Let's talk about that for a second. What made you decide, this would be a really interesting way for, as you say, community building in general, by having an art exhibition that would hopefully, maybe you didn't think the first time it would be something that would happen every year, but what happened where you were like, you had this thought that this is how we can do something and create something together? Talk me a bit through that process of making this happen, and I guess finding artists who were willing to be a part of it and be encouraged by kind of everything that was happening.
Right. Well, I mean, the backstory is because I am a practicing artist. Before coming to Canada, I was doing sculpture in my home country, the Philippines, and I come from a line of artists. My father was. My late father was a sculptor who did public art in my home country. So I was literally weaned on the art, So on the arts,
you're very
rather
prolific, if I may say. I know you.
I do quite a bit. So when I came to Fort St. John, it was one of those things that I kind of looked into, like, oh, I'm hoping to practice my art. It's something I enjoy doing. So when I approached the gallery in the beginning, which was 2017. And I was told by the coordinator at the time, Lisa, that, they have an opening for 2019. But then I thought to myself, this is not necessarily just something for me. It's an opening, so why don't I open it up to the rest of the community? Since I was also quite active with the North Peace Filipino Canadian Association, I still am with NP Philcan. So I thought this might be a good opportunity to, like I said, showcase the art, because I knew there was so much talent. I saw amongst our peers that, some people, I saw their photography, I saw some of them, he paints, or he does this, or he does that. So I figured this might be a good opportunity to just give everybody a chance to participate in something in a formal gallery setting. And also, the other part of that is because I think for the most part, even at the time anyway, in 2017, 2019, most of the Filipino Canadians in town are really kind of, delving into the service sector, whether it's the healthcare sector or the food service sector. So I wanted for the Filipino community to also be seen as, outside of that kind of service delivery box, if you may. So, for us to be kind of seen as wholly as people, to have, as I mentioned, humanity's love for the arts, and and of course with that comes with all the emotions of humanity that comes with the arts. So I thought it was a good idea to kind of shift perception, if you may, or maybe have the locals or have the local community think of the Filipino Canadian in a different way. That there's more to them than just so and so. So I that was part of the conversation, but it later evolved. Like I said, in the past 6 years, many different other participants have come forward. So it's kind of now evolving, and now I think we're entering kind of like a new phase, as I mentioned. Now we have the second generation Filipino Canadians participating, which I think now is taking it to the next level, and which brings me so much joy, because now it's become now like an integral part of community, that it's transcending just like a one-off thing, that it's now being a tradition, and now we're seeing a change. I think we will be seeing changes in the art, because now because the perspective is also shifting now with the Canadian-born Filipinos are also participating. So I'm very excited to see, because it's really an evolution, and I think I like the direction it's taking.
Now, do you kind of suggest a theme every year, or is it kind of everyone kind of submits what they'd like, kind of based on it's pretty much submit what they like. Obviously there's certain restrictions that you don't want to see certain things because it's for general public. Sure.
But other than that, I'm a big champion of. I'd like championing the idea that you should be free to express and free to celebrate things that you like to highlight in your life, and whatever it is that, whatever art form that takes, for as long as it's not offending, maybe. Then, and even with the medium, I encourage experimentation. I mean, I try to do it as much myself. So yeah, I think whatever, different strokes for different folks. But for as long as it's within the realm of creativity, within the realm of visual art, that's something admissible for the exhibit for Filipino Canadians. Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if you've noticed in your time kind of doing this, in all the art that you've seen, with the local artists and whatnot, are there common threads that kind of appear in sort of themes and even concepts that you see over and over that really kind of make Filipino Canadian artists' art unique, say even compared to some of the art that that's often in the Peace Gallery North by other local artists? Is there stuff that you kind of see often that you're like, I know what this is, and I kind of see this theme or whatnot popping up over and over, and that might be unique to a Filipino Canadian artist?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say, well, right now, I think, because like I said, people have their choices. So some of them might be celebrating more of like what they're seeing in a Canadian way. Like, for instance, a lot of the photography is within the Peace region, so it's celebrating their new home or where they are, kind of thing. But in the beginning, especially for the paintings, what I did notice, this has been observed by others as well, like Filipino paintings seem to have, like especially if it's landscapes, they might have a different hue. Like they might be brighter than what is normally, like seen in other artwork, because the palette for the bright, I think, and you know what, I might not even just be unique to Filipinos, because I have seen this in other tropical, countries within, like the equator kind of band. Like the paintings, the hues seem to be more vibrant, more flashy colors, I suppose.
I suppose if you grew up in a place where there was more of that, generally. Then. That is something that I would see, at least for that particular genre of artwork. But as far as everything else, because there's mostly abstractions and this kind of thing, so you're not really seeing a lot of like connecting kind of cultural themes anyway. But all of it is about celebrating, being here, their lives here, our lives here. So it could be anything. So you might see something that is uniquely Canadian, which for me is something I'm also celebrating, because that just means that you're really seeing now the connection of the culture, that it's actually happening internally. Wonderful. All right, so the first part I want to ask you about, if someone's listening right now and they'd like to be involved, maybe submit their art to be a part of the show, what can they do? How do they get in touch to do that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, right now, because we're 2 weeks out, and the gallery at this time, because it kind of changed a bit, right? I mean, like I mentioned, in the past years, there's a bit more accommodation for last minute things, but because we are on the 2 week mark, and because I think they are like kind of instituting some changes in the way they're taking in work, so it might be a little bit too late now for this year. However, we are hoping to do it every year. Right now, as far as we know, we do not have a June schedule for next year. I think they're penciling us for October, if I'm not mistaken. But the years after, we will be reverting back to having the June. I mean, which is a bit unfortunate, because it is Filipino Heritage Month, so we were hoping to have it. But either way, we're happy to have the opportunity. So please just get in touch with me. Ovvian Castrillo-Hill, maybe on Facebook, maybe, but that's probably the easiest way to just chat me up, and I can connect with you about future exhibits of EX SITU. Yeah.
Okay, and then finally tell us about the opening night, because I'm sure there'll be a bit of a gala.
We're going to have an opening night on June 6th, and everyone's invited. This is going to be at 6:00 at Peace Gallery North, and we also will have a tiny, spread of Filipino goods. Also,
Nice.
refreshments. We're hoping for people to partake, and please support us. It's like I said, this is a community event. It's something, it's all in good fun, through the arts, I guess. And we're not fine artists. Other artists in our group are not fine artists, but we really appreciate that support, and hope you keep on supporting us, because this is our 7th year and we'd like to keep going.
Okay. And finally, again, always free to attend at the Peace Gallery North. You can always stop by and check out all the art on display there. But if people have some cash to spend, can they buy some of the artwork that'll be available there?
Yeah. Some of the artists have their art that are not for sale, but there will be some for sale for sure. Yeah.
Excellent. So you can support that way. All right. Well, again, that's June 6th, 7 p.m. And then it runs kind of till the end of
6
June.
p.m.
6 p.m. Pardon me. But it runs at the gallery.
I believe
until
so, the 28th.
Yeah. So you have lots of time to check it out if you can't make it for that night. All right. Well, Ovvian, we're going to chat with you in just a few minutes now about the World Fair happening on Sunday at Festival Plaza. That coming up right after this on This Week in the Piece.
Life is full of amazing things to see, so make sure you can see it all clearly with an eye exam from Merwin Optical. Committed to providing you with complete eye care services, Merwin Optical offers everything from eye exams to frame selection, and your complete satisfaction is always their top priority.
Merwin's licensed opticians and knowledgeable staff will work with you to find eyeglasses and sunglasses that fit your needs. And with their BOGO 50% off promotion, your lifestyle and budget as well. Merwin Optical, 101 Ave in Fort St. John.
Feeling the heat? No problem. Pro North Heating has a large selection of OEM and universal air conditioning repair parts and equipment in stock. Yeah, they got that. Stop in and see them on the Old Fort Road or shop their full inventory online at pronorthheating.com.
Step 1, grab a cup and add your favorite flavors. Step 2, fill your cup halfway with ice. Then pour in your desired amount of iced coffee. Give it a nice stir. Step 3, now top it off your way. Add cream or toppings just the way you like it.
And that's how you create your own iced co-op coffee signature. Available exclusively at your Fort St. John co-op stores for only $1. Offer valid from May 15th to July 27th.
Be a part of something bigger and experience a trade show that enriches the lives of the people in our communities. The Crossroads Lifestyle Expo returns May 31st to June 1st, featuring headliner Jenny Ogilvie, Canada's unconventional medium. Space is still available for vendors. Register today. The Crossroads Lifestyle Expo, May 31st to June 1st at the Dawson Creek Curling Rink. Don't miss it. To apply to be a vendor or to learn more, visit crossroadslifestyleexpo.ca.
Hey folks, craving good food, great drinks, and even better times? Swing by the pub in Charlie Lake. Enjoy wings Wednesday or dine for two, mussels and wine Thursday. Follow them on their socials for Chef's Weekend features, upcoming events, and more. See you at the pub in Charlie Lake. Cheers.
It's bigger than TV, podcasts, Netflix, and Spotify. It's your local radio station. Last year, local radio was able to reach more people in Canada than any other source of media. And when it comes to the North Peace, we reach more people than any other station. 100.1 Moose FM reaches more than 19,000 people per week, and each person listens for more than 9 hours a week every week. If you have an event, a sale, or anything you wish to advertise to Northern BC, let us be your first call for advertising. There's no one that does it better. Call us today at 250-787-7100 to see what advertising options we have for your business and your budget. 100.1 Moose FM, 100.1% Fort St. John.
Moose Country weather.
Mix of sun and cloud with a 60% chance of showers this afternoon and risk of a thunderstorm. We'll see wind out of the southwest, 30 gusting to 50 km an hour near noon, and a high of 17. Tonight, partly cloudy sky. We dip to a low of 5. For tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud with a 30% chance of showers and a high of 20. It'll be fairly windy as well. And sunshine for Sunday and a high of 26.
You can watch this show live on Facebook, catch the replays at energeticcity.ca, or be part of the show by texting your thoughts to the Fort City Chrysler line at 250-787-2222.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Steve. We're back now with Ovvian Castrillo-Hill to talk about the 2025 Success World Fair coming to Festival Plaza this Sunday. So Ovvian, first and foremost, for people who maybe haven't attended an event like this before, can you give me a quick rundown of what people can expect?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you, Steve, for having me and letting me talk about World's Fair. We're going to be having cultural tables at World's Fair within Festival Plaza, where in different countries can showcase a little bit of their culture. They might have some food tasting. They might have some, like for instance, a lady from Pakistan is doing henna, this kind of thing, and some refreshments from Japan, this kind of thing. And then we'll also have displays of costumes. We're also going to have some art there, some live artists from Flying Colors. We'll also have about 11 nonprofits who have something to do with community building that are also going to be present. That's inside Festival Plaza, but outside from 1 o'clock up till 4, I think at every 45-minute mark, we'll be having performances from different cultures as well, from the Ukrainian people, from the Filipino people. We have a gentleman from Tanzania. I'm excited to hear about, I've never heard a Tanzanian song, for instance, somebody who's representing Canada. And I'm missing another group. There's Latin dance as well that's going to be taught. And we also have some food trucks that are going to be there. So yeah, it's just an afternoon of getting to know different cultures here in Fort St. John. I'd like to stress that the people who are going to participate, these are our friends, these are neighbors, people we work with who are putting up the booth. So in other words, we're actually getting to know the people we know a little deeper. So I'm hoping that this can inform, can be educational. So I'm really hoping that a lot of kids go. There's going to be a lot of freebies. By the way, everything is free with the exception of the food trucks. Everything that's going to be there is free. So I'm hoping that everybody can swing by.
Okay, awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I read this morning that this is the first time the World Fair has been held since 2020. Can you tell me a little bit about sort of what the process looked like for bringing the event back and sort of how that decision came to happen?
Okay, well, first of all, I have to preface by saying that the previous World Fair was handled by SWIS, which is Settlement Workers in Schools. Right. And this was with SD60 with volunteer high school students that were the big part of why and how they were able to put up the World Fair. And I say this because with the community that I belong to, we participated in World Fair, not as organizers. And it was something that we enjoyed, to be able to share our culture, to be able to meet people. So fast forward to last year, I believe, Success has been part of a program called Resilience BC. And with Resilience BC, I don't know if it can be seen, but we have this. It says Good Idea FSJ, with IDEA being an acronym for Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility. So, and we also came up with like a protocol, like a book of what to do, if you're encountering some issues. So basically what we'd like to do is to have this brand well known, to have this brand known to the general public, like when they say or hear Good Idea Fort St. John, that they know what it means, that it means inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility. So when we came to the table now for a new contract to do Resilience BC, all the stakeholders, we thought of what can we do to promote Good Idea Fort St. John. And we came with the idea of why don't we revive World Fair? So this is what we are doing. We are now reviving World Fair for us to be able to practice what we preach, so to speak. So when we're there and we meet others, when we meet and kind of demystify the people in our community, and also through the nonprofits, be able to know the services that are intended to mitigate some of the issues that we have, then it's us coming together. And by the way, World Fair is something that we hope to do for the next years more. Our agreement to do resilience, or the plan is to do Resilience BC for 5 years. So we're hoping to start this year and grow it. And from here, by the 5th year, by the end of the 5th year, we're hoping that Good Idea FSJ will be something everybody knows.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. You mentioned Filipino people are going to be there. There's going to be Pakistani. There's going to be Ukrainian. Can you tell me about some of the other sort of groups that have signed up to have booths there? Or
Yes, there's a group from Jordan. There's a group from India. There's a group from Japan, and I believe, we've had originally we're supposed to have one from Colombia, but unfortunately, just this morning I found out that. But we do have Latin Roots that's going to be there, and I believe they're from Chile, which is a food truck, and there's also a Filipino food truck, Cocina. So there'll be Filipino food there as well, and there's also, I think they're also serving some Western food for performances. I did mention those earlier, but yeah, like I said, this is our first year, and we're hoping that the other cultures might not know yet that this has happened or in the past and that we are doing it this year, but I'm hoping that after this year that we'll have more participants. But nevertheless, we're preparing for an afternoon of fun. We're preparing for an afternoon of information sharing and cultural sharing. So there will be something for everyone to partake, and I'm hoping people can come out and enjoy it.
Great. So this is Sunday at Festival Plaza. What times?
It starts at 1 o'clock, and it runs until 5 o'clock. And like I said, we have it in such a way. So basically the performances, they're not like you're not sitting down for a show. What it is every 45-minute mark, we'll have a schedule of somebody performing. So if you intend to drop by, say, as it starts, you'll see someone. If midway, you'll see someone. And also towards the end of the evening, you'll see someone perform. So that's so in between the performances, we're encouraging people to walk around and just enjoy the view and interact with each other. So basically, that's what we're hoping will happen.
Okay, awesome. For people, obviously, a little bit last minute if someone wants to set up a booth for this year, but you mentioned you guys are going to be running this for the next few years. If someone is interested in having their culture represented, say at next year's event, how can they get in touch about that?
Please call Success Fort St. John Service Center. Number is 250-785-5323. Leave a message there and I can get back to you about lining you up for next year, and we'd be excited to have you. By the way, as far as the schedule goes, right now we do have it for the month of May. It's something we're evaluating as well, if there's something, because we don't know if it's a factor in why people were not, or more cultures were not able to join, for instance. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, since this is our first year, we will take into consideration and take in like say surveys afterwards to find out how we can improve and how we can make it better, because we'd like to have the really, really best one in their fifth year, and people, the community helps us do that. So we encourage the feedback, and that would be very helpful for us as well.
Absolutely, yeah. We might have some people who are listening right now who are maybe interested in volunteering to help make sure the event runs smoothly. Are you guys still recruiting volunteers for this year? And how can people get in touch about that?
Okay, well, we are setting up, as I mentioned, it starts from 1 to 4. We're going to be in the area from 10:30, I believe. So if anybody wants to help, you can come forward. We actually do have some volunteers through Work BC as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a community event. Nobody really owns World Fair. I mean, it's all for us. So if you'd like to help, please do. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. We might also have some people who are listening and maybe they're interested in coming, but for whatever reason, they're not going to be able to make it out on Sunday. Do you guys have any other ways that people can get involved?
Well, this is kind of like a one-off event for Sunday, but if they're not able to come, we will be posting some information probably after the event on our Facebook page, the Success Fort St. John Service Center page. Maybe we can just, by virtue of sharing those images, then they can have kind of like a whiff of what happened. But yeah, it's really more of a designed to be an interactive, in-person activity event. But also rather the participants, they're not just one-off, especially the nonprofits. Yeah. They're not just there for the day. So if there's any of those services from the nonprofits that you need or you'd like to know more of, you can contact us. Or even if something cultural, like you're curious about something that you see in the picture, maybe we can connect you to those countries that you found things that interest you, or even the art that may have interested you from the photos. And then maybe we can connect you after the event. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I think we've gone over everything on my list here. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, other than just think about Good Idea Fort St. John. I think it's a great great kind of brand that we're trying to promote, and I'm hoping you guys can come down for World Fair and have fun with us. And like I said, we're all designing it for the community to enjoy, to partake. Everything is free other than the food trucks, of course. So please do come down on Sunday. Hope to see you there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, Ovvian.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. That was Ovvian Castrillo-Hill. Big thanks to her for joining us today on This Week in the Piece. And thank you for tuning in.
You can listen to this show again by checking out the podcast at energeticcity.ca/podcast. You check out old episodes of this show there as well. And make sure you take a listen to our other locally produced podcasts before the piece in the same location. That's our show. I'm Dub Craig.
And I'm Steve Berard. Be well.
Join us again next Friday morning at 10 for another edition of This Week in the Piece, your weekly talk show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace Region. Or you can listen to this podcast again at energeticcity.ca.
Swing by